Live from the Outpost Studios in Columbus, Ohio, you're listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy. Brought to you by IPMNation.com. Get ready for the gong heard round the world.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is not a drill.
All Natural Being. Warning, All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy is designed to shake your sense of self to the core.
It's full contact psychology with an empowering twist, a philosophical loofah for your soul.
For those of you not ready or comfortable releasing your inner superhuman, listener discretion is advised.
Here's your host,
Brian Brawdy.
Good evening once again. Welcome. And thank you for stopping by. Let me get this back over here real quick. A little bit of the gymnastics that goes on at the beginning of this each and every time. Welcome and thank you for stopping by and hanging out for the 394th episode of the number one rated show here on IPMNation.com. You're into All Natural Being, and the gong just now heard around the world broadcast as it happens. I'm sure you can tell. Nothing taped and edited about this show. Broadcast as it happens, thanks to our good friends at Telestream's Wirecast. We come to you live from the Transitional Radio uplink here in Columbus, Ohio. And from here, directly to IPMNation.com. And multicast live on Facebook and over on allnaturalbeing.com and on our Brian Brawdy app as well. As always, you can follow our little soiree. The rebroadcast on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter for now. You know, I go back and forth. That said, greetings wherever you are, here in the garden of the mortals, the labyrinth of life itself, as you know it, as I know it to be, the ups and downs, the lefts, the rights, the pivots and swerves, the flukes and the whims, the sheer havoc of the synchronicity and serendipity of it all, the blind alleys and the cul-de-sacs, but never, ever, 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 ever a dead end until you decide to tap out. You don't need anyone's permission to run the table. It's up to you. So remember, we're here simply to suggest that you always put your heart's highest priority top of the list. That's the bottom line. That's the elevator pitch, if you will. Putting your heart's highest priority number one in your life. Reinstalling and reinstating the true wit and wisdom and the wallop of your inner whisper. All in time to out-brutal the brutal. That is the cut and shuffle that fate can deal us on a daily basis, and to bring your own bold, your unique brand of ferocity once and for all. Now, before we hit it this evening, and we got a great show planned tonight, a lot of good news to get to you. A quick hello to my friends here in the United States and Canada, Mexico, UK, my good friends in Ecuador, China, the Philippines, Brazil, India, Australia, Germany, Italy, and France, Nigeria, Turkey, Japan, Singapore, Thailand, Belgium, Sweden, Israel, South Africa, Egypt, and Puerto Rico, Kenya, the Netherlands, Iran, Colombia, Greece, Ireland, Argentina, Peru, Austria, Poland. To those joining us from all over the globe, it's great. It's truly an honor to have you with us. And I'm fired up to be today to be driving your bandwagon, to be your virtual hitchhiker, to be avidly you. And if you're out and about on the go, you know what I love about riding shotgun, as I say all the time? I get to hang out with you. So what are we waiting for? Here's our opportunity together as a tag team, a team of two, to mortal up. Because I believe it's time to like the way you think. It's time to be your all-natural being. It's time for you to bring your personal, unique brand of grit to the relentless grip of life. So what do you say? Let's go kick in some doors. And I thank you again, as I say, for joining us. A lot to get to this evening. I want to talk a little bit about my breakfast with my good friend Lee Rowley this morning, a little bit about David and Goliath, which we teased over on Facebook and Twitter. Also give you a little bit of an update as it goes to 81 to win. You know, our world record attempt coming up now just 60 some odd days away. Coming up to St. Patrick's Day in this year. So we're pretty fired up about that. We've got some news that we want to get to as well. But let me say hello to everyone here in the thread. Good evening, Alice and Kathy. Thank you very much for joining us. Ina, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Ms. Putnam, thank you so very much for joining us. Henry, good evening. John, hey, everybody. Well, hey, everybody, right back at you. Kathy, thank you so very much. Alice, thank you for joining us. Wayne, as always, it's great to see you. Hello, everyone, to you as well. All right, so let's do this first. I want to say that tonight, just to let you know what's going to go down tomorrow. Now, I'm hoping here before too long to get a phone call in a little bit later in the half hour from Henry Noel, the host of Thinking Re-Envisioned, which comes on at the bottom of the hour, 8:30 Eastern Time, Sunday through Thursday on IPMNation.com/TRNow for Transitional Radio Now. And he's going to set us up a little bit about what's going to go down tomorrow night, because tomorrow night, All Natural Being is going to be, and I know, hold the applause, right? All Natural Being is going to be a 14-minute show. And you'll go like, wow, 14 minutes. We were hoping for that all along. But in any event, it'll be a 14-minute show because we have a very special show that's going to take more than a half hour for the whole show to run itself out with Thinking Re-Envisioned and Henry Noel, and he'll explain all that when he calls in. So tomorrow he will pick up the show and go for a full 45 minutes from 8:15 to 8:59, in a couple of seconds. And then at 9 o'clock, of course, we'll be back with Copy That Speaks, a fantastic guest lined up for you tomorrow night. Of course, my good friend and partner Lee Rowley will be here for Copy That Speaks, and you're not going to want to miss this episode of Copy That Speaks. So there's a little bit of the rundown of what we're going to be doing. We'll catch up with Henry here in a little bit. Then we'll kind of just play all the cards on the table, let everyone know why we'll be doing a 14-minute show tomorrow and how cool tomorrow's show going to be. A show that it's even going to be hard to pack it in 45 minutes, I got to tell you, but we'll be looking to explain that here before too long. Also, the 81 to win. I want to thank Lee Rowley once again from Sales Copy Academy. Obviously, he's the official time sponsor here in the Transitional Radio Uplink, the Outpost Studios. He's the additional, let me see. Wayne says 14 minutes, huh? Guess we'll need the eyes tomorrow night. Yes, we will, Wayne. Yes, we will. So in any event, that's our goal. It's more like a soft goal, right? But that's what we're going to shoot for tomorrow night. Now, for 81 to win, here's what I think we're going to do. I've been kicking it around with Lee some of the afternoon today, and we're going to come up with kind of like when you're a sponsor for the 81 to win, what you're going to get, what you're going to have, what you can expect from being. For example, you see the T-shirt that I'm wearing, the Mortal Up T-shirt. Well, in order to be a sponsor of a particular hour or a sponsor of the 81 to win, our world record attempt at the longest call-in radio talk show, we're going to have your logo done up on a T-shirt. And, of course, I'll wear that throughout the hour. We'll have a logo card created for you that will put your logo out throughout that particular hour. And then what we'll also do is, it'll be posted to the top that you're the official sponsor of this particular hour. You'll have your T-shirt. You'll have your logo card. Of course, there'll be some instances where we record a 60-second commercial for you or your company, and that'll go up and be posted in the 81 to win as well. So we're really excited about that. And I think as we iron it out a little more, as we hone it out a little more, we'll have a website. And we'll post all the particulars over on the website so you know exactly what it's going to take or what you get when you're involved in helping us sponsor the world record attempt. So we're pretty fired up about that, and we'll be talking, not every night, but every so often we'll have a little reminder that if you want to see what the rate card is, to head on over to the website and how you can get involved and how we think it'll be a win-win for all of us, right? So, and as I've said before in the tease, if you're interested in joining some of the biggest names in broadcast media and social media as well, we're looking for people that want to call in and hang out, people that want to visit us here in the studio. We've gotten all kinds of cool offers from people that come, hey, I want to come by. Can we do? Kelly across the way said, maybe she'll open up a bed and breakfast for people that, don't want to hunker down here in the studio amongst all the bookcases and the weights and everything else. So, but we'll get more into that as we get closer. Now, this evening, something else that's I've been kind of kicking around in my mind lately. And I had a chance to speak to Lee about it today, or we had a chance to kick it around at length. And I'm always pulled back to the story of David and Goliath, right? You see, I've got the David head on the set. Somewhere here, I have a David statue. I've got multiple ones around the studio. And I also have the slaves, right? So you've seen me here before. Hold on. Oh, let me go away from it. You've seen me here before with this statue of David, right? Since it's a PG-rated show, I use a scarf. Because my luck, if the scarf slips, then Facebook will say that I'm broadcasting pornography, so I got to keep this, you just don't want it riding up in the wind, so I keep the scarf down as much as I can. Handkerchief, I guess it's called, down so that we don't get popped for broadcasting pornography here on our little show. But in any event, one of the reasons I think the story's been always so powerful, to me at least, right, that it's meant something to me all this time, is that when you see the statue of David, it's lined in the hallway leading up to the statue. It's lined by 4 statues called the slaves. And when you study any of Michelangelo's notebooks, or you study any of the biographies about him, a lot of people go, oh, well, he was getting around town. He had a lot going on. He didn't get a chance to finish the slaves. And what the slaves are is, and I should have thought to bring those pictures in now, but the slaves are humans half in and half out of the marble, right? It's like they're fighting to get out of the encasement of this marble. But I've often thought he didn't run out of time. He didn't forget to do it. He wanted those slaves to represent the people that had not achieved what David achieved. Right? He wanted them to represent what people are like when they're still encased in the fate of everyday life, right? They're still encased in the chop block. Good evening, Rita. Thank you for joining us. Nice to see you. Hope the parade and everything else went well the other day. I didn't get a chance to hear about it, but I'm hoping it went well. If you're involved, I'm sure it did. So the thing with David, where are we going? So we're hanging out, right? We're on a big battlefield. David's, Goliath is on the other side, teasing everybody. Everybody's quaking in their boots, over on the other side. And everyone's like, I don't want to fight him. Do you want to fight him? I don't want to fight him. And Goliath's like, all right, wusses, come on. Who's going to fight me? Let's just get it over with for you, right? It'll be a quick death, that kind of thing. Then all of a sudden, David pops up and goes, whatever. Can't stand there and let him taunt us. Somebody's got to stand up to him. So the David from Michelangelo's statue, he says, all right, call on me. I'll, pick me. Ooh, Welcome Back, Kotter. Remember the movie Welcome Back, Kotter, or the show Welcome Back, Kotter? Horseshack was in the back of the room going, ooh, pick me. So they pick David, and David comes up to the battle line and looks and goes, well, that Goliath, he's a good bit taller when you get close up to him. But, he doesn't bum. He doesn't worry about it at all. He goes, no, I said, I'll do it, so let's bring it. Just bring it on. And all the generals go, oh, well, you'll need this shield. You'll need this spear. You'll need this helmet. And they deck him all out in what the generals think is the way he's going to have to fight this battle. And David tips over, right? Too much weight, too much crap, too much status quo, too much committee vote. So then David must have looked around and gone, well, look, why don't you get your fat ass out there and fight him then? If you want to use this helmet and this spear and this shield and this sword and all this other stuff, you feel free. Just cut in line. I don't mind. What are we at a checkout counter? I don't mind. Cut right in line. Fat little Mr. General, you go fight him. So then what does David do? As I said in the post earlier, what does David do that is so absolutely important to you and me in our life all these years later? What does he do? He goes, I'm not going to put up with your baloney. I'm not going to use any of your gear. I'm not going to use any of your crap. I'm going to go back to my all-natural being. I'm going to fall back on my own DNA. And as you know now for the story, he goes, bends over, grabs 3 little stones from a river or a creek bed that happened to be running right by there, puts him in a sling, right? Hits Goliath in the head. A couple seconds later, he's standing on top of him, saws his head off with a sword. I get maybe he did borrow a sword from one of the generals at that point, but the point being that for David, he said, no, I'm not going to do it your way. It's not natural for me to try to do it your way. It's not the way it's going to go. And if I'm going to defeat Goliath, if you and I are going to go at life, we can't go at it with other people's accoutrement. We have to decide in a particular moment in all of time, is this what I'm going to do in order to be able to defeat a superior enemy, to defeat the chop block of fate? Is this what I'm going to have to do to out-brutal the brutal? I'm going to ignore everyone saying, oh, you should do this, or you should do that, you should do all these other things, and I'm going to fall back on what I know. And I believe that's why the statue of David, carved from a piece of marble that had been lying around a churchyard forever, 13 and a half feet, I'm told, right? But nobody wanted it. It was a piece of flawed marble, so they called it. Michelangelo saw it and said, whoa, I'll take that piece of marble right there. And he says in his journals, with chisel in hand, all is well. And if you've ever heard the story, they said, what did it take to carve the statue of David? And he said, I didn't carve the statue of David. I simply removed the excess marble so that the statue on the inside could spring to life. And I think when you look at it alongside of the slave statues, those slaves have not lived their life with chisel in hand, all is well, right? They've not managed an archaeological dig. They've not managed to excavate themselves from the brutality, the chop block of fate, and thus they're still trapped. But if you look at David, he's like, I'll do it, and I'll do it with these little pebbles. Then, after I knock him down with a shot to the forehead, then I'll go cut his head off, right? So when I look at that and when I see the statue of David and I see the slaves, you can't help but wonder, have you and I done, do we continue to do what we need to do to eradicate the excess marble, to excavate ourselves from fate's attempt to keep us trapped? Or are we putting our heart's highest priority, top of the list, right? Just like David going, let me get him, right? Can you imagine what can you imagine what fate would feel like if it's like, wait a minute, you're not going to use all the accoutrement of the day. You're going to come at me with just this little thing. And David goes, I think I will. I think I will. Well, for you and me, couldn't we do that? Couldn't we say that in the battle of our lives, we're going to put our heart's highest priority, top of the list, and we're going to make it work? And that's why the story of David, and most certainly the story of the Fates, and what I'll do tomorrow night for the 14 minutes is I'll grab a couple of the pictures that I have right over here on the wall of some of the slaves, or the statues, two of them, the slaves, from Michelangelo, and give you an idea so that you can see exactly what that means. But here's the guy, David, doesn't shirk the responsibility of living up to life. Says, no, pick me, I'll do it. And he's victorious because he does. And I think he's victorious, as Henry says, trust and believe in yourself. He most certainly did. Rita says, hi, it was fabulous. I'm glad to hear it, Rita. Congratulations. Joseph, nice to see you. Hope everything's going well. I've enjoyed all the photos I've been seeing lately, Joseph. Sunrises, sunsets, all the building, all the family shots. Great job. Keep them coming. Rita says, of course, we can all do it. We just do not believe we can. And I think, Rita, you're absolutely right. And Henry's right to say to trust and believe in yourself. That's why. Joseph says, just getting home and in with you all. Joseph, nice to have you. Thank you so much, apparently, for jumping on, or for jumping on especially, I meant to say especially right after you get home. We were just talking a little bit before about the story of David and Goliath and how David says, pick me, right? He mortaled up, right? He was going to challenge Goliath by using his all-natural being. And when all the people around him said, well, you should use a shield, you should use a helmet, a sword, I don't know, do they have mail? Like, did they dress up like knights back then? I don't even know, right? But he used all of this stuff, and he goes, no, I'm good, thanks. I'll stick with my slingshot, right? I'll stick with what I know. I'll stick with my all-natural being. So let me ask you a question. Are you and I in the fight for our lives? I believe that we are. If you watch this show, you know. And if not the fight for your life, then are you in a battle every day where you go, man, it is a relentless grip of fate. But what if you were to channel and to bring your grit, just like David did? What would that mean overall for everything you're attempting to do? Lee, good evening. If I haven't said hello, good evening. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us here on All Natural Being. I was talking about our breakfast earlier and talking a little bit, Lee, about some of the things that we'll be doing for the 81 to win later this year at St. Patrick's Day, 60 some odd days away. Lee, hello. Sharfry, hello. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. And we were basically also talking about the story of David and why it's so important that when you get to, when you awaken and find yourself in the labyrinth, the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights, the pivots, the swerves, all of it, where you can't necessarily use other people's opinions about how you're going to get through your life. Ultimately, it's on you to decide. It's on you to mortal up. It's on you to say, no, I'm going to use, not unlike David, I'm going to use the pebbles and the slingshot, and this is how I'm going to do it. Thanks for your good wishes, but if you're that confident those programs work, that shield, that helmet, that this or that, then drag yourself up and you go fight Goliath. But all the generals are like, look at the size of that guy. I'm not fighting him. And David goes, yeah, whatever. Going, whatever. Thank you, Lee. Lee says it's going to be epic. I believe it will. And Lee, thank you so much. And if I could, because Lee had some really great ideas as well. We highlighted them a little bit earlier. I would love it if other people here in the thread had those same ideas, and they might be like, oh, yeah, let's do this or let's do that. So please keep them coming. Let me do this. Good evening. Thank you for calling All Natural Being. Who is this?
Good evening, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great, brother. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you.
Hey, listen, I was telling everyone tomorrow, they're like, wow, this is going to be great. Only 14 minutes that we have to put up with him. So I was telling everyone about why tomorrow's show is only going to be 14 minutes, right? And then you'll have a full 45 minutes before we kick off Copy That Speaks at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Right.
But why don't you give us a rundown? Because I'll just butcher it, right? I'll make some kind of Tiny Tim with a ukulele joke. You know what I mean? I'll have like a la Joseph Haggerty. I'll go, oh, well, tomorrow night for Henry's show, we have someone with a small little guitar, something like that. But why don't you give us the straight scoop on what you're going to be doing tomorrow night? And it's a very special 45-minute Thinking Re-Envision. So, Henry, take it away.
Yeah, thank you. It's fun. I happen to go to a concert and here in Cuenca, and it's a gentleman from the United States. His name is Jeffrey Castle, and he is an electric violinist. He plays electric violin, six-string violin actually,
wow,
which is really unique. And he actually creates the music as he goes. He has a thing, I guess they call it a looper, where he can play a sequence of music, and it records it, and then he stops it, and then gets that playing, and then he records along with that, then he plays along with that, and that records, and he gets about 12 or 13, 14 sequences involved, and creates an entire orchestra in this with this violin, and it's all recorded and plays, and it's just amazing to watch him develop and create these songs just as he goes along. It's absolutely phenomenal. But I had an opportunity to meet him, and
cool.
And so we got to talking about it and told him what we do and what we're up to, and he said, well, why don't you have me come on the show? And I'd love to have you interview me. And so I said, you got to be kidding. Sure.
That'd be great. Sure.
So if it all pans out, if it still works, well, hopefully it'll all come together. We are going to interview Jeffrey Castle, and his website, if you guys are interested, is www.jeffreycastle.com. And you can go in and look at the CDs he's got. He's got tons of CDs. Phenomenal musician. And I'm actually going to sit down face-to-face with him and just have a great conversation. So I'm really excited about it, actually.
Great conversation and some music, right, for the 45. So you'll be talking, you'll be interviewing him, and then he'll also get a chance to show us so that we can listen in at the same time, I would think.
I would sure hope so.
Yeah, very good. Joseph says Skinnerd, right? Like we should have those little lighters and we should be lighting them throughout. Joseph, I have to tell you, he's absolutely right. Henry, once again, a violin equals a fiddle. Especially for those of us from West Virginia. Nothing
absolutely. In
untruthful
fact, that's what
there.
I referred to him. I said, hey, you really play a mean fiddle. And he just looked at me like, what?
Right, and I'm already getting reprimanded by Rita. Rita says, Jeffrey is a maestro with his violin like you have never heard. He is also an amazing guy. So, right, I guess I shouldn't do any more fiddle jokes. But how can you pass on a Tiny Tim with a ukulele? That's just funny no matter how.
Giving you one little fraction of an opening, I know that just blows the door in, so I just love it. So.
Well, that's why I threw it to you right away before I could cause any more damage, right? I just Brian, just be quiet and give it to Henry. Lee says that's going to be super cool. Looped music has such neatly textured layers. I would absolutely agree with that, Lee. And so we'll get a chance to hear that tomorrow night. And then I'm thinking, Henry, will you also record a little more so that after your show, people that want to go and hear like a fuller version or maybe hear a particular riff, there'll be a place for them to go. Maybe on your Facebook page, you'll post, like an extended version of the interview. Is that going to go down as well?
We'll definitely give it a shot, that's
Very
for sure.
Cool.
I mean, I'm kind of hoping, because I know we'll cut it right off just before 9. We'll cut it off about, maybe 2 minutes before 9 to give everybody a chance to get set up. hopefully we can continue with the talk and stuff, and I can just record it and
That
get
sounds
it all
great.
set up so that we can just add that to it. And we can just kind of link it to it, so we'll see.
Rita says, Joseph, you are correct. Lee, you need to look him up on YouTube. So could you go ahead and throw that link up, Henry, before when you're ready to get out of here? I know you're getting ready to do your show, but if you could throw Brother Castle's link up on here, then people can start to look for it. And then tomorrow night we'll do All Natural Being from 8 to 8:14, and then we'll get ready to throw it to you. And it's a huge night tomorrow night, Henry. The guest that Lee has arranged for Copy That Speaks with Lee Rowley. You're just going to be blown away by this guest. So it's going to be a really great night here at IPMNation.com/TR now. And there it is. Thank you, Henry, very much. Jeffrey, spelled with a G, GEOFFREY, Castle.com. We will be able to keep recording. Wayne says we'll be able to continue recording even after live is shut down. Well, that's good news, I would say. And then maybe repost that whole thing over on your Facebook page afterwards. So, Wayne, thank you very much for checking into that. Henry, anything else? I know you're getting ready for your show, so I promised Wayne I'd let you go. Anything else you want to fill us in on for tomorrow night? Because it's going to be, as Lee says, it's going to be epic.
It's going to be fun. I mean, it really is. This is going to be, first time. I was hoping that stuff like this would happen. It's sort of impromptu. And I'm excited about it, being able to do my first interview with someone, with the caliber of this gentleman, and it just gives me just a fuzzy feelings, man. I just
Very
love
cool.
it. It's just so exciting to have that. So thank you very much.
All right,
and I
you're welcome,
appreciate
brother. Not at all. We're looking forward to hearing it. I'll let you go so that you can get ready for Thinking Re-Envisioned at the bottom of the hour now, just 3 minutes. And Wayne will be happy to know that I know 3 minutes and 23 seconds away. Henry, thanks for calling in. Have a great show. Good night, brother. All right, let me also say hello quickly to Alex. Alex, thank you so much. I'm so excited after our call today, Alex. I'm not going to tip the scales and let everyone know why, but that'll be coming very, very shortly. Alex, thank you for a great call today. Also, let me say hello to Mike Warren. Mike, good evening. Philip, thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. I super appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out. So, as a recap for this evening, we're going to be going over the next couple days and then developing very shortly. If you want to be a sponsor of a particular segment within the 81 to Win, our world record attempt for the longest call-in radio talk show, we'll be able to talk about that. We've got some other things coming up. And hey, Mike, good to see you again as well. Please tell your dad we said howdy. I love it. Joseph says, I guess no squirrel on a stick. I don't. Here's the thing. I realize now I don't need any help getting myself in trouble, but it's so easy. Ever since, I'm telling you, the 24-hour with Joseph, and we did our whole thing about, let me get this out of here. If I could do this without killing, well, no, maybe not. Well, the heavy metal of the sledgehammer, that was just absolutely great. All right, we're going to get ready, Thinking Re-Envisioned with Henry G. Noel right after this broadcast at 8:30, and then we'll be setting up tomorrow night. We'll go from 8 to 8:14 with All Natural Being. 8:15 to 8:59 will be the extended version of Thinking Re-Envisioned. Thank you, Mike, very much for telling your dad I said howdy. Thank you very much. And then tomorrow night, another great guest with Lee Rowley and Copy That Speaks. This lady's story is absolutely amazing. So we have quite the night planned for you tomorrow night, Thursday night on Thinking Re-Envisioned. For Thinking Re-Envisioned, also Copy That Speaks here on IPMNation.com/TR now. All right, so the question tonight as you get out of it, if it's been a while since you've read the story of David and Goliath, if it's been a while since you've read any of the stuff that goes around the history of Michelangelo carving the statue of David and the statue of the slaves and a little bit of the story, it'd do your heart good to look at that story and go, what of David is in me? What grit do I have in me that allows me to go, no, I'm not going to do it the way the status quo says. I'm going to do it by channeling my all-natural being and mortaling up. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. As you know, once again, my proof that I can actually stop talking and hit a call time, so we're going to be doing that. Thank you so very much for joining us here at IPMNation.com/TR now. Stick around. Henry G. Noel and Thinking Re-Envisioned will be coming up in just a few seconds. Thank you all so very much for tuning in to All Natural Being. Until I talk to you tomorrow night, remember, always, 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 mortal up. Talk to you soon. There we go. We can go like that.